It's 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and it's Happy Family Mediation Week. Welcome to you all. Thank you very much for joining us for the launch of Family Mediation Week 2026. My name's Stephen Burke, and I'm the chair of the Family Mediation Council. I think I can safely say that this week will be the biggest and the best family mediation week yet. We've just been talking, we've got 358 people signed up for just one of the webinars. And the numbers are looking great for the whole week. So more people are going to be directly engaged than ever before through online and in-person events and a variety of media during the week, from separating families to family mediators and other professionals to our partners and our stakeholders nationally and locally. Many thanks in particular to everyone who has planned the week, and you'll hear from three of them shortly. I'd also like to thank all our sponsors whose support is much appreciated, and thank all of you for your contributions before, during, and after the week. Now, Family Mediation Week's a great opportunity to promote family mediation and how it can empower separating couples to create a better future for themselves and their children. And it helps the Family Mediation Council work towards our three key aims of increasing awareness, improving access to family mediation, and boosting assurance through the excellent work of the Family Mediation Standards Board. There's a lot more to do on all three fronts, and the FMC is working hard to make sure that people are more aware of family mediation and understand its importance to families, to family justice, and to tackling child poverty, improving education attainment and strengthening communities, as well as resolving issues inside and outside the court system. This morning, we've got three speakers, all of whom have been heavily involved in planning the week, and I hope we will have some time for you to ask questions, and particularly for you to share your plans and what you're planning to do during the week. Of course, the success of the week really revolves around your involvement and your support, spreading the word with your communities and networks through social media and mainstream media, and engaging policymakers and funders locally and nationally. So please do as much as you can during the week. It's a really great opportunity. So the first person I'm going to ask to speak is Sarah Manning. She's the perfect opening speaker. She's the chair of the planning committee for Family Mediation Week, and also from Paul Brown Family Law. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be with you all as we head into Family Mediation Week, which is my 5th year as chair. In each of those years, working alongside my brilliant committee and the Family Mediation Council, we have made steady progress, and I genuinely believe this will be our most successful year yet, so echoing what Stephen has said. For those of you who don't know me, I self-funded my mediation training back in 2012, not long after I qualified as a solicitor. And since then, my career has essentially been one long mission to convince everyone who listen about the merits of mediation. From my earliest days working with separated families, to me, it just made sense that two adults with the right support should make their own arrangements instead of spending huge sums and surrendering real decision-making power to a judge. It has taken a long time, but I feel that the efforts of all those who feel likewise are really coming to fruition. In preparing for each successive Family Mediation Week, the emphasis has been on the very first step that people take when they separate, and how to convince them, simply and clearly, that mediation is the most effective way forward. We have certainly been helped by changes to the pre-action protocol to include non-court dispute resolution, which have been genuinely encouraging mediation is now considered alongside arbitration, neutral evaluation, collaborative law, with a clear signal that family disputes shouldn't involve litigation as a default. I have personally seen a sharp rise in mediation referrals. Importantly, I've also seen an increase in family lawyers providing clients with the facts needed to make informed choices about how they wish to proceed. The potential for cost orders against those who do not explore NCDR is another reason it's definitely taken more seriously now. The mediation voucher scheme is another factor. And when the scheme was first introduced in 2021, public awareness of it was limited. However, awareness has steadily increased over time, and as a result, many families now understand the support available to them and are actively requesting the vouchers. This growing awareness has allowed a far greater number of families to benefit from the scheme. When I was asked to speak this morning, I thought back to where we started. My first family mediation week was during the pandemic, and as a result, we used online seminars to reach other professionals and clients. We are now so familiar with using those methods that it seems extraordinary to think that it took a pandemic to find a way of making them available. Online mediation, in my view, has been one of the genuinely positive benefits from that period. It's made mediation safer, more accessible, and especially for those experiencing domestic abuse who can attend from their own homes. Looking back, it's perhaps true to say that we were excellent at preaching to the converted, telling other mediators how good mediation was. However, we struggle to convince or engage with people outside that loop, professionals who often see the early signs of family breakdown, like judges, teachers, doctors, therapists, and others working closely with families. We also need to persuade more lawyers of mediation's real benefits. Even with great speakers and good content, it seemed a challenge to have such individuals act as advocates of mediation rather than litigation. In the years since, though, we have made huge inroads, and this year we have 19 webinars, each shaped for a specific audience: lawyers building skills, mediators developing their practice, educational professionals, therapists, and more. Importantly, our message is now landing directly with the general public, thanks to sponsorship allowing us to run proper marketing campaigns. By now, I don't think that any family lawyer in this country can say that they don't know what mediation is. Whether they love it or hate it is another matter. Even so, I genuinely feel that a tide has turned. For instance, the number of submissions to speak at events during Family Mediation Week has been overwhelming. Whilst we have sadly not been able to feature all those interested, I would urge them to resubmit for 2027. We have been keen to listen to what people want from us, and we've had lawyers describe misgivings about using mediation in high net worth or complex cases. And that's why we've tailored sessions to overcome that caution, and why we're encouraging lawyers handling those and other cases to get to know their local mediators as they would ordinarily build a network of barristers. No one instructs the same barrister for every case, and mediation is no different. As with barristers, it's important to choose the mediator who fits the client and the case, and our aim is to give mediation a genuine and meaningful opportunity to become the primary way families resolve their disputes. Equally, I hope that it won't be too long before mediation is so routinely relied upon that we don't even need a week dedicated to it all. After all, there isn't a Solicitors Awareness Week because everyone knows what solicitors do. And we want mediation to have that same level of visibility. My personal aim has always been simply to help separated families make informed decisions from the start, to ensure that they understand all their options, and to support them in choosing the path that truly works for them and not the path chosen for them, and to help families avoid the wider emotional impact that court proceedings can have on everyone involved, including the strain on mental health and overall well-being. I firmly believe that we are getting there. Whereas only a few years ago, we had 30 to 60 attendees at events, which we thought was great numbers at the time. We're now regularly having hundreds. As Stephen said, we've got one with over 300 people. Our YouTube channel grows every month with webinars available for people to watch throughout the year. And I want to thank our sponsors for helping us expand our reach. Their contributions have undoubtedly helped us connect better with the wider public, an area I've always found difficult. It's not too late for everyone to get involved and spread the word. If everyone here posts just once on social media, even from a personal account, it could reach someone going through a separation or someone who knows someone who is. You could reach a person who needs mediation but hasn't yet heard that it's an option. As well as our online content, the number of our in-person events has also increased over the next 5 years. We want to see more in-person events across the country. We hope that cities learn from one another in order to build strong, connected local mediation networks. We have a dedicated LinkedIn page, and we encourage you to like and share and interact with our posts. The Family Mediation Council continue to be active on social media, and they're using the tagline #Family Mediation Week. And if you can tag us in, we love to celebrate your work. If you're doing anything locally, please tell us. We want to highlight it. I just want to close by giving a huge thank you to our committee members. Their commitment, energy, and work behind the scenes are what makes Family Mediation Week possible every single year, and none of this would happen without their support. And a special thank you to Helen Anthony from the Family Mediation Council, whose guidance, encouragement, and calm steering has been invaluable throughout the process. Thank you to all for your ongoing support, your passion, and your commitment to helping separated families. Family Mediation Week is what it is because of all of you. Thank you.
And thank you, Sarah. I think Sarah has demonstrated why Family Mediation Week has grown and grown and grown. Is this year going to be the biggest yet? And an invitation from Sarah to put your names forward already for 2027 webinars as well. So thank you, Sarah, for that introduction and setting the scene for Family Mediation Week in 2026. I'm pleased to welcome our next speaker, who's also on the planning committee, Helen Midgley from Tees Law. Welcome, Helen. Over to you.
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning, everyone. And yes, let me echo those welcomes into Family Mediation Week 2026. I'm sure we're all going to enjoy it. I'm Helen Midgley. I'm a partner at Tees Law, so I'm a family solicitor, resolution together practitioner, but also an accredited mediator. So I'm donning my mediation hat and my hat as member of the working group for the Family Mediation Week to speak to you this morning. As Sarah said, for the last few years, Family Mediation Week has largely taken place online. And while those online webinars are an integral part of the week, this year, the working group has been really pleased that we've had a growing number of in-person events organised. And actually, we kicked off a little bit early before the start. Last week, Family Law in Partnership kindly hosted the Family Mediation Week launch event, where, among others, we heard from Andy Slaughter MP, who chairs the Commons Justice Select Committee. And it was really positive to hear from him about the government's commitment to the promotion of access to justice for all, in which family mediation plays a part. But then turning to the week itself, there are events up and down the country. I think as we speak in Manchester, the Independent Women Group are hosting a coffee morning at Mazars, where they're intending to provide information about using financial services within mediation. And I know from personal experience that using financial neutrals can be enormously helpful in mediation. So I'm sure that will be there'll be some really insightful conversations this morning. Tomorrow, the Surrey Resolution team with Maud Barlow have organised an invitation-only seminar about the voice of the child, and they have speakers Richard Jones, KC, and Emma Colbach, I believe of One Garden Court, speaking there, which I'm sure will be excellent. Then on Wednesday, Reading Family Mediation are inviting non-mediators in the family justice sector to attend a Demystifying the MIAM seminar, a professional's guide to what really happens in the first meeting, which I think is really important for our raising awareness aspect, because we all know as mediators what a MIAM is, but what we're trying to do is share that knowledge with those who aren't already practicing in mediation. Then on Thursday, a couple of coffee mornings for professionals working with separating families, which are sure to be excellent networking opportunities. In London, again hosted by Flip, and then in Birmingham, HCR Law are hosting that coffee morning as well. And then on Friday, finishing us off up in Leeds, Hall Brown Family Law are hosting a drinks reception for professionals and experts working with separated families. And I'm sure, Sarah, you'll lead a Family Mediation Week recap and all of the successes that I'm sure this week we'll have. But it would be a little remiss if I didn't mention the event that Tees is hosting on Wednesday. And we're really fortunate to have joining us the Fractured Voices Theatre Group, who are going to perform Daisy Through the Looking Glass, which is a play written by His Honour Judge Stephen Wildbud, KC. I believe Carly Norris is on the call this morning, actually. She's one of our actors, and we're also joined by Bronte McGregor and Stuart Clark. So we're really excited about them all coming to join us. I don't want to give too many spoilers away for those who are coming to watch, but the play begins with a couple meeting after a few years after a bruising court case relating to contact arrangements for their daughter, and then moves backwards in time to the court process and the relationship breakdown. And what we're really excited about is the actors have agreed that they would stay in character after the play for a question and answer session, so we can hopefully get our guests to get a real insight in the feelings and the lives of the characters and the disadvantages of that court system, all with the hope that we can have a conversation with some drinks and nibbles about the other way that's available, mediation, other non-court dispute resolution methods. So That's what we're hoping to achieve on Wednesday. We do actually have a few more tickets available, so if you are able to get to Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire, we're only a 35-minute ride out of London from Tottenham Hale. Please reserve a seat on the Eventbrite via the Eventbrite link, that which is accessible on the Family Mediation Council's website. We're not specifying it has to be family lawyers. That the audience so far is likely to be some family lawyers, some mediators. We've got some divorce coaches, therapists, financial advisors, but all are welcome. And really, it's about raising awareness about family mediation, and taking a little time with our colleagues and contacts to think about that court process and the disadvantages. So hopefully that gives you a little insight into some of the events this week. And I'm also calling out for 2026. If you would like to host an in-person event, it doesn't need to be a big event. Getting together, a bit of networking, coffee morning, some after work drinks or a lunchtime, something like that, where you're talking to your colleagues, your contacts, sharing information, sharing resources. That's what's really important, because the mediation world is we're a community and we need to share that message. So feel free to volunteer next year. Please do. Yes, there will be a bit of logistical organising. I'm not going to pretend there isn't. You do actually have to invite people, but it's good fun, and I would very much encourage everybody to have a go next year. So yeah, I will. I think that's me. So enjoy Family Mediation Week, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Helen, for giving us a really good flavour of what's to come this week. And do join Helen and colleagues all around the country at one of the events. Great for networking as well as awareness raising. Sadly, Helen has actually got to go and do a MIAM shortly, so she'll be disappearing. But we are going to be taking your comments and particularly your plans shortly after our next speaker, who is Helen Anthony, well known to everyone. She's the Chief Executive of Family Mediation Council, and as Sarah's already said, with her and her team's support for making all of this happen has been invaluable. So over to you, Helen.
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, everybody. It's lovely to see you this morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to speak to you for a few minutes about what you can do during Family Mediation Week to help promote family mediation and its benefits to professionals and ultimately to the families that can use the process. So you've taken a great first step because you're here this morning, so that's really good to see you. You will be aware that we are hosting lots of other webinars all through this week. Some of them are for mediators to help you learn more about mediation. Many of them are for other people to help them learn more about mediation. So we do have a series of webinars for professionals working with families. They might be lawyers, they might be social workers, they might be in family hubs. What you can do to help us promote those is to share those with your network. So anybody who maybe signposts to you as a mediator, perhaps people who don't signpost to you as a mediator at the moment, but you think they might be interested in that. And we'll be releasing throughout the week in the daily emails resources to help you promote those events as well. So after they've taken place, you could send a link to the recording, for example, to the event for teachers that we've got this afternoon. Or if you know any teachers, then send out the email ahead of time. It's at 4 o'clock, so it's outside of teaching time. And alongside that, we're going to have a letter that you can draft to teachers, which will come to you tomorrow to tell them about the benefits of mediation. The reason we've chosen teachers as a particular profession is because we know that they say it's one of the two top things that stops them teaching, is family separation, affects children in the classroom. So do use the resources that we are sending out. Like I said, there'll be a letter to teachers tomorrow, and that will follow the webinar, sorry, this afternoon. So hopefully that'll be a good piece of information that you can send to them. Similarly, I mentioned lawyers already. If there are lawyers in your area who you think perhaps
aren't so familiar with mediation, its processes, and therefore can't explain it so well to their clients. Consider whether you might want to invite them in a completely unconnected case to observe you in action. We have a confidentiality agreement, a template. It's on our website. We'll push that out to you during family mediation of the week as well, so you can use that as alongside contacting local lawyers to tell them about all the webinars that either are or will or have happened during the week. Um, there are two other resources which you have received already. One of them is a press release. We sent that out to you a few weeks ago. If you haven't tried sending a press release to your local news outlets, do give it a go. We do know that some mediators have success in it, not every time, but it does help promote family mediation and your business to those in your local area. Um, and those who have used the template we've sent out, it said it's relatively easy to do. And this morning you would have received a template which we have asked you to send out to your local MP. So it's very, very easy to find your local MP. You just click on the link that was in the email this morning, or alternatively, Google Find My MP. You will be able to put your postcode in, find their email address, use the template email. Do change it if you want to. Um, Put their email address in, add your name and importantly your postcode so they know you are a constituent, and send that off. And we are aiming to raise not only awareness of family mediation and its benefits to MPs, but also the current crisis in public funding with the voucher scheme due to end the end of March, and with the number of people who are able to do legal aid going down at a rate of knots. So if you're able to do that, that would be a really significant thing you could do to raise awareness with somebody who's quite significant within your community. So we're also going to be sending out some resources for things that might be useful for you in order for you to share with your clients. So you may have seen this morning we've shared a video about the separated parents program directory. We know that a couple of years ago, when CAFCAS took parenting programs and gave all the contract across the country for their parenting programs to one organisation, it became very difficult for people to find parenting programs near to them that would assist their clients and make signposts to them, because a lot of parenting programs lost a lot of their funding and their clients. However, a new charity has been established so that you can find, it's come up with a directory, so you can find parenting programs now that your clients may well find useful. So we will also be sharing resources and information throughout the week with you, that you may find useful information to pass on to clients as relevant. So there are plenty of opportunities for you to get involved directly as a mediator or as another professional working with families this week. Do share the information that we send to you with all of your networks, because that helps us extend our reach significantly. I know that lots of you have already done lots of those things, and I know that lots of you are planning to do lots of those things. And so we were hoping that very shortly some of you might be able to tell us what you are up to. So thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Helen. And as Helen said, there are lots of different ways in which you can spread the word. Can I reiterate the importance of contacting your MP and increasing the pressure, really, for a speedy announcement from government around the future of vouchers, as well as on legal aid. We need to keep the pressure on. Helen and I had a positive meeting with the minister before Christmas, but we're still waiting for the announcement. So any pressure you can help apply would be really useful. So as Helen said, we're very keen to hear from anyone today about plans that you have, um, and for the week. Anything that you're planning locally, any activities you've got going on that you'd like to share. If you could just raise your hand if possible. A couple of people have put things in the chat as well about the email. A very good email has gone out to hopefully everyone on the FMC list today. So with all the details, but one or two people said they haven't got it, but they'll get that after today's meeting if you leave your email in the chat, please. But would anyone like to contribute any thoughts about what you're doing this week in Family Mediation Week? Any contributions? Just raise your hand or wave or whatever, and we'll try and get you into the conversation. Is anyone waving?
I think Nigel is.
Nigel. Hello, Nigel. Nice to see you.
Good morning. It's not so much something I'm doing this week, but I think there's a real opportunity as mediators to let people come and observe us. I'm really glad Helen mentioned that. I think it feels quite a brave thing to do, but I think if we want people to buy into mediation, they need to see it. It's that seeing is believing, and we should be confident enough in ourselves that what we're doing is good work. So let people come and see us. All clients generally, I don't think, mind being observed, and they understand it's all confidential. So, be brave is my message. And actually, we benefit from that as well, because I think it makes us think about what are we doing? What's the feedback going to be? And I think there's a real opportunity for that. So this feels really positive. So
Yeah, thank you, Nigel. As you say, not just for this week, but on an ongoing basis. Anyone else want to add? Several people are saying they haven't had the email, so there are quite a few emails to go out after the meeting today. Anyone else waving? Anyone wants to share something that you're doing this week? Yes, Olia.
Yes, good morning. I'm a very, very new mediator. Literally not a mediator yet. I finished my course back in December, and now I'm trying to build this as a business. What I did find out, people don't around me, and I have a large circle of friends, acquaintances, and clients. People don't know what family mediation is. They very often mix it up with family counseling. And that's one thing that we need to address somehow. I would say 99% of people I spoke to talking about my new profession, they think, oh, you're going to bring couples together, you will fail. So I was just going to raise that, asking for your advice. Who do you approach trying to spread the information? Because I've approached several lawyers, and they explained to me in no uncertain manner that they are interested in their work. My AMS, yes, fine, you can do that, but then they want their clients. I found that this week I'm approaching charities, because people who charities look after people who very often can't afford legal costs. They would be very interested in mediation. So maybe there are some kind of tools to approach charities on a bigger scale. That's what I was going to ask, basically. What is your advice? How do we actually do it? I live in Basingstoke. No one in Basingstoke actually knows about mediation. I've lived here 33 years and worked for the community, know all the mayors. People just simply don't know about it.
Thank you. Well, I think you're the starting point, Olia. If you're in contact with all the councillors and mayors, and Sarah, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind responding to Olia. There's also been some interesting comments put in the chat as well, so people might want to have a look at those whilst we're taking more questions. But Sarah, do you want to respond to Olia?
Yeah, I think it's just about, when you're raising awareness, is just reaching out and sharing, like the leaflet that's being created, and raising awareness and doing the in-person meetings and encouraging people more and more to help. And that's why we call on Family Mediation Week, to do it as a community and individual areas. But it's difficult when different areas have different responses to mediation. I'm in Leeds City Centre, and I think most people, there's a good awareness of what mediation is, but I appreciate there's other areas that might need a little bit more work. And it's good for us as a committee if people let us know about that, and we can concentrate more on certain areas if that's something nationally, and we could look at that maybe next year as well. But anything you can do, Ollie, about raising awareness, sending emails, and the contacts that you have is always really helpful. And I think, like I say, London's very different probably to North where I am, and there's always a different response to the mediation.
Thank you, Sarah.
Karen, I don't know if you've added into that or you just
Well,
put your hand up.
yeah, Karen, over to you.
I mean, I certainly know that Basingstoke, there are some really good lawyers in that parish, if I may, that refer to family mediation. I think the comment I wanted to make was on the back of this weekend being at the International Dispute Resolution Centre in Paternoster in London as a judge for an international mediation competition, which was typically civil and commercial, but really going to the point where historically people used to say mediation is fine, but it's not for finances. And actually, you go to that building and you realise the disputes, multi-million-pound disputes that they deal with in the civil context. And for me, I suppose, is the growth and strengthening of the mediation process for finances in our work. And I think all of us here are to be congratulated on that. I feel there has been a seismic shift that we can do work that involves, many pounds, many noughts, in a way that perhaps even when we started Family Mediation Week, it's fine for children, but not so much for money. And of course, when you are in that building, particularly seeing the disputes that they deal with, millions, billions, etc., mediation has got a universal reach. And that was actually a timely reminder this weekend. And that was just the point I wanted to make.
And Karen, is there anything else you want to add as another member of the planning committee?
Well, I'd echo that the number of applications for sessions required us to have several sifting sessions to go through. And if people weren't successful, please don't give up. We tried to continue to develop some themes. The richness of the content I know from my consultees, I've got 30 consultees as a PPC, is that having captured those and then having the recordings for the following year has been enormously helpful to use as a resource throughout the following year. Bigger and better, I think, is what we're saying is the theme. And nice to see that there are a number of in-person events as well. So, enormous thanks to Helen and the staff, and to everyone who makes a contribution.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Karen. There have been a number of suggestions, Olia, to you in the chat. I know you said you're already in touch with your local Citizens Advice Bureau, for example. So there are a lot of other agencies. And as Helen said, teachers are often the first people to find out about family separation. And I'm really pleased that we have a webinar for teachers today, but it is about contacting all of those schools, etc., etc. So we have Sarah Ross is waving at me. Yes, Sarah.
Sorry, I can't find my avatar for waving, so it's my real hand. I just wanted to comment on the teachers strand, really. I practice primarily in Scotland. I'm qualified in England and Wales as well. And there's a very important scheme that Scottish Mediation have had running for some years of peer-to-peer training and mediation for children in senior schools, primarily, I think, almost totally funded by the Scottish Government. So again, I'm constantly shocked by the lack of cross-border information. You'd think we'd had a great big ocean between us rather than a small border near Carlisle. But anyway, that's what's going on there. And it's a really, really interesting programme. And they have had several rounds of appeals for mediators to train in that peer-to-peer support training for kids. So I just thought people might want to be aware of that. And if they're interested, they can go on the Scottish Mediation website and have a look at what they're doing.
Thank you. That's really useful in terms of how we learn across the four nations. Anyone else want to share any activities that they're planning this week, or any other comments to make? Do have a look at the chat because there's quite a lot of information in there. Tony Wood first, and then Helen.
Hi, everybody. Thanks to the Family Mediation Council for organising this. Brilliant. Um, there are, I think, about 125 people on this call today. And one of the big issues for me is the massive reduction in the number of legal aid providers. So we're down to 86, and we've got 125 on this call alone, 300 registered. And basically, the fact that legal aid and the number of providers is reducing, the fact that no progress has been made at increasing the paltry fee that legal aid providers get, including myself, means that a huge number of the parts of society are not able to access mediation. And mediators have made the decision on economic grounds not to no longer be legal aid providers. And it means that lots of people won't do mediation. So I live in an area, I'm in Blackburn, East Lancashire, huge numbers of people who are on low amounts of income and only a few legal aid providers around. So I think this is a major issue. It's fine for us all to say we must increase the awareness of mediation, but you find organisations like CAB, charities, sending clients to mediation because they know that legal aid's available. And I think it's a big issue for the FMC, who are doing their best. But I'd like to sort of know exactly what progress anybody thinks is being made with the MOJ, and whether you believe what politicians are telling you, because they will say anything to anybody to give you a smile. But anybody that knows politics, we know that progress often isn't made. So I don't know who might be the Stephen or Helen can give an update as to where they are with the MOJ.
Well, thank you, Tony. I mean, as you say, it is a massive issue for families on low incomes. It's a massive issue for mediators and obviously for the FMC. We had a meeting, as I said earlier, with the Minister, Baroness Levitt, before Christmas. We made all of the points that you've just made and more to the Minister. She heard them all. She went away saying she was going to explore the issues further. I think the other thing that, and we're waiting for announcements both on vouchers and legal aid from the MOJ. The other thing I would say is that there will be quite a lot of pressure from elsewhere within Parliament, and this is one of the reasons why we're asking you to write to all MPs to ensure that MPs raise these issues directly with government. Partially because we have the Justice Select Committee inquiry into access to justice coming up, and that's a real opportunity to flag up the issues, particularly around legal aid. So please do submit your views both to anyone you know who's on the Justice Select Committee, to your MP, and directly to the ministers as well. Helen, would you like to add anything to that? I know you wanted to speak anyway.
Yeah, well, I'll respond to what Tony said. And obviously we recognise that there are a limited number of mediators who offer legal aid. Angie has just asked how you can find out those who do still offer it. You can look on the FMC website. There is a filter and the Find a Mediator search if you do need to find a mediator who offers legal aid. And you may well, if you don't offer it yourself, you may need to refer to those mediators. But in terms of what have we heard from the MOJ? We have at the moment heard very little directly from them. However, at the reception last week when Andy Slaughter MP spoke, and he is the chair of the Justice Select Committee, he has said that he and some colleagues from the committee had met with Sarah Sackman, who is the Legal Aid Minister, in the week. And he did say that he was invited, and he was, to speak at last year's Family Mediation Week reception, and he hoped he would be invited back next year. And following the meeting with Sarah Sackman, he hoped that next year there would be more positive information. Now, I know that's very little, but I think it shows that the government are listening when MPs go and see them, and the Justice Select Committee talks to the legal aid minister. That's a fairly reliable sort of source of information. We do know that this government has increased housing and immigration fees. So this government has taken action where previous governments haven't. So that is also potentially a positive sign. We must, though, keep up the conversation. And that's why it's really important for you to write to your MPs, because the more MPs that are aware of the issue, the more it becomes important for the government to respond. And the reason that it's really important that you as different people from all around the country. We've had Leeds and Basingstoke mentioned, but I know that you are, and Scotland. I know you are all around England and Wales and sometimes outside of it. But the more MPs that we can contact, the better. I know that I've made good inroads with my local MP about family mediation in the last year. He's offered to lay written questions, for example, for us. So there are lots of things that you can do, and it really will take you 5 minutes to send that email. So if you haven't done it this morning, please do. Just a note on logistics. Some of you have said in the chat you haven't received an email and given us your address. I suspect that's because you're not on our mailing list yet, or it may well have gone into your junk mail. We will make sure we'll resend those emails to you so that you can have those templates and write to your MP, etc. as well.
Thank you very much, Helen. And I should have mentioned there were a number of parliamentary questions as well to justice ministers before Christmas as well on the legal aid issue. So if you haven't seen those and the responses, please do. But the more you can ask your MPs to ask similar questions, the better, as well as writing to them about the issues. So I'm conscious of time, and I know you're all busy people, but unless there's anyone else who wants to flag up what you're doing during the week, can I take this opportunity to thank all of our speakers, thank everyone who's doing things during the week and after the week as well, because it's just a point, but we need continuous activity on the issues we've been talking about. Thanks again to the sponsors who have made it all possible. We are looking for some new independent members of our board as well at the FMC and the Family Mediation Standards Board. So if anyone knows of anyone who would be interested, please do share that with Helen or myself. And all it remains for me to say is I'm actually also really looking forward to the Deirdre Sanders webinar at 1 o'clock today. Deirdre's a well-known agony aunt who has got connections with the family mediation world, and she'll be talking about the importance of family mediation to separating couples and the wider public. But there's lots going on, as you've already heard, and thanks to Sarah and the two Helens for telling us all about this week's activities. Can I wish you all a very happy Family Mediation Week, and thank you all for what you're doing, both as mediators and as supporters and practitioners, and making helping to increase awareness about family mediation, because we've all got a job to play in doing that. So